Good evening and welcome to the October 17th, 2024 meeting of the Community Preservation Committee. It is 6:31 p.m. and we are meeting at the Lakeville Police Station at 323 Bedford Street. We do have Lake Cam recording this evening. Is anyone else recording? No. And we do have a quorum as well as a new member. If everyone would like to introduce themselves and go around the room.
New member, Robert Stefani. Nice to meet you all.
Nancy Yates representing Concom.
Brittany Lepore representing the Park Commission, also new.
Michelle McEachran, Planning Board.
Susan Spieler, member at large.
Liz Nash, Open Space.
Nancy LaFave, Lakeville Historical Commission.
All right. And we have a fairly light agenda this evening. Number one, we have discussed and possible vote on extending time frame for step 2 applications. This is something that we discussed briefly at our last meeting, talking about timeframes for reviewing the step 1s, because in order to get them on this agenda, they would have had to be turned in prior to the date of closing of the step 1. So we did get some applications over the long weekend. Those will be reviewed at our next meeting in November. And because we had a certain time frame for the step 2s, we discussed extending that time frame for the step 2, because if a project is approved, that's when the step 2 application goes out, and we want to give them enough time to review to complete the step 2 and have everything that's necessary to include with that application. I think we had talked about extending it till January, with the holidays and everything. January 15th.
When was it previously due?
I think we had November 15th, because it was going to be prior to our next meeting.
So you want to go all the way to January?
Well, if we don't review them until our
December
next
15th.
meeting.
December 15th?
Or December.
Yeah, is the
Okay.
original, November 1st to December 15th.
Thank you. So
Okay, so
our next
January.
meeting is November 21st. So if that's when we're making the determination, we want to give them,
Some time, but we
I'd
do have
say
a
at least
meeting
a
in
month.
December too, right? Is it December 19th?
yes. But do we think a month is long enough? Do we want to give them till after the holidays? Do we want to address it before the holidays?
I would say there's a lot of stuff to be done by the time, last time, how long did it take? Well, that's because they weren't ready yet, but for them to sign the agreement and those things take a while.
Well, those things happen after the town meeting vote. You mean like the grant agreement?
Yeah,
Yeah. So that should be, after they're approved, final, by town meeting. So I think really it's just given time for us to review them. And if we want, maybe we do want 2 meetings prior to the warrant opening and then closing.
Yeah.
We know that usually happens in March.
Yep.
So we want to have it all set
Yep.
before March.
yeah.
So maybe,
I'd say extend it to in January.
you think January 15th?
So we don't have dates with all our new members, we'll have to go over what night's good for who all over again probably, although tonight was pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, the Parks Commission switched our nights so that to accommodate me being able to come here.
Yeah.
So
And I
we've
mean,
been
and
kind of
we've all changed, meeting
Yeah.
dates. They used to meet on Wednesdays and
Yep.
they used to meet on, Historic used to meet on Thursdays as well. So it does happen that it changed. But yeah, it seems to be working out well so far. And for the record, Kathleen has joined us at 6:35. Welcome.
Hello, thanks.
We are just on the first agenda item, discussing extending the date for the step 2. So actually, if it closes if we were to give it till January 15th, that really only gives us a little more, like a month, to review before submitting to town meeting. So do we want it to be?
December 19th?
Yeah, maybe, or so before that meeting, so we can review it at that meeting and then have maybe a second meeting if we need further discussion.
Yeah, and it seemed this time like the closing date, like that's why we're not looking at all of them, because the closing date didn't quite match up with our next meeting, so
Right.
next time we can figure
Yeah,
that one
we
out a
can-
little better, but I would say not to drag it out, get the stuff done.
Okay, so if we're meeting on December 19th, do we want it to close, because I'd have to put the agenda together, I'd like to have it set up Friday before the meeting, so if it closes on, say, December 10th, that gives me time to get down there, scan it, packets, electronic, whatever.
So you wanna make it even earlier, so close it
Yeah,
December
so that
10th
it's, so we can
instead of
have,
the 15th.
so we can review it on,
But if
19th.
we're only reviewing on is it the 19th?
so,
It's the 20th.
and yeah,
Oh, it's the
so
19th.
that's where it's tricky, because it does, so if our next
That's
meeting is the
one-
20th,
That only gives a couple of weeks for them to do the whole step.
yeah,
That's not enough time.
no.
Yeah, that's not enough time. I think maybe we just add on another meeting in the next couple of weeks.
I think, well, so that's
we
very
can look at
difficult
them.
over the holidays, as we know.
No,
The
now.
holidays coming up.
I mean, so
After
like
that.
today's October 17th. If we met next week or the week after to review them,
Step one.
and yeah, the step ones. I'm
Instead of
sorry.
waiting
I'm
until
sorry.
November
Yes,
21st.
exactly. Instead of waiting another month to even look at them. Looking sooner. And then we could potentially keep the dates the same if we looked at them before the 1st.
We met a lot more frequently last year when we were reviewing. And I
Yeah,
think people
right.
understood that when we first started, is that there are some months that we could almost skip, which we
Yep.
did. And then when it gets tight to the time where we're really dealing with the money, that we might have to meet a little more frequently.
Yeah.
But I think
get
the
through
reason
the-
that we wanted to just do, spread it out and give ourselves more time so we don't have to rush. But does anybody else have any input? What do you think about adding an extra meeting, timeframes? No, you haven't said anything, Nancy, Liz, Sue?
Because we kind of already should be looking at step one.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, we would be today,
Right, but
but
there
yeah.
was last
Right,
minute submissions, so.
The issue is posting the meeting too, right? Is that part of the issue?
Yeah.
You only need
Getting the
the
agenda,
48 hours.
information on the agenda.
Right, but, so there was a holiday, I would have,
Yeah,
Have
it's
to
a
get
lot
down-
to get all that
yeah.
material, believe me.
It is.
Yeah.
I know,
So-
it's a lot
Yeah.
to get all that material together.
Yep.
Would the alternative be to extend it to January, like you mentioned, and then just plan on a second meeting in January for that additional review if we need it? If we come to the first meeting and there is no additional questions on the projects, we wouldn't need that extra meeting anyway, right?
right.
And I think the problem that they're saying, having it on the back end like that, is then their next step, they wouldn't have enough time. Right? If you waited until
No,
January
so I
15th.
was just saying, we want to make sure that we have plenty of time before town meeting, so that we have everything in place,
Right.
but. I don't know, I thought we had said January 15th, and that's kind of what I had in mind. So if we give it till January 15th, and then
Then there would be plenty of time all around.
so maybe if it's not January 15th, but maybe if it's the week prior, so then we can have them on the January 16th meeting. And then we can have the February meeting as well, so we can have it on the 16th and the February 20th for review. So then we could have an application due date of January 6th, which that still gives from
Yeah,
our
that's-
next meeting, which is November 21st, all of December, even though there's the holidays, and then have it due after the 1st. So these,
Okay, for step two. Yeah,
For
that's
step
earlier
two.
in the month. That's kind of a compromise, I think.
mm. Yeah. You think?
So January 9th?
January, well, I was thinking the 6th, just to make sure that,
Is it a Thursday?
and that's a Monday.
The 6th is
Oh.
a Monday.
Okay.
Oh, the 6th that they're due,
Right.
and then we
Yeah.
review them on the 9th?
And then we'd review them on the 16th
Oh, the 16th,
Yeah.
We're
okay.
talking of December,
of January.
January.
January?
Yes, that sounds good. All right, would somebody like to make a motion to that effect to extend the step two to?
Why don't you say it again and we'll say so moved.
All right, to extend the step two application deadline date until January 6th of 2025
This is for step 2, right?
for step two.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
A motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
And the motion carries. Number 2, we have review, discuss, and possible vote on step 1 applications. The only one that we had available, Nancy had let me know that she had received it. I didn't get the hard copy until this evening. We all have a copy in front of us, but this is the same as what had been approved previously. It's a continuation of the repair work for the gravestone repair at Thompson Hill Cemetery, submitted by the Lakeville Cemetery Commission under a historic application category. They're looking for another 10,000. They were able to get a lot done with the last 10,000. I think even more than what they expected, really, from the sound of it.
Well, didn't they have a little left over?
There was,
Like
yeah, but there wasn't
$400.
enough left over to do any.
Right,
no, I
so-
mean,
so
they
they're
did 4
adding that to
things,
this?
but, it's on the next section is the bill. that
Oh,
came
right,
in,
yep.
And it talks about the scope of the work that they did. And they added the 2 cane stones, the husband and Samuel and Serena. Plus they had already done Phoebe's and they had more work to do on Caleb Turner, who was the minister for the Middleborough and Taunton and Middleborough Precinct Church. And then did the foot markers for the Kane family there. So there was, $450 that they couldn't use. Because you can see the amount tells what each particular thing cost. And, Caleb's was the most expensive because he had to have a granite slab and then had to have the original stone repaired and set on top of that. So that was why that was a few dollars more. But it tells you everything that they did, from cleaning it to
Very detailed.
using the carbon fiber rods to secure the headstone and everything. They're
Excellent.
very thorough, and they're from Plymouth, so they're close, you know.
Great.
And they make rubbing of the engraving. Is that for historic record? They make rubbings of the
Yeah, they
engraving?
take that as a historic record of the
That's,
piece that they did.
wow, that's cool.
So as far as the other applications, the step 1s, I've sent them off to the coalition. I didn't think this one was necessary to send off because they've already reviewed this. So if we want to, I don't know if we want to hold off and review it with all the applications. Do you want to take a vote on this one this evening? What is the
So
consensus?
let's get this one over with now.
Yeah, let's get
Do
it
it now.
over with.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Okay, so we're actually going to be making a recommendation to town meeting to, support this project, the CPA funds.
Well, we're just approving
Is that
step
April
1.
town
Oh,
meeting?
that's right. Oh my goodness. I'm stepping over step 2.
She's living a couple months.
Yeah, you're ahead of yourself.
Yeah.
No, we're going to.
Yes, so
right
then.
now, yeah.
they
I'll
get the
make a
step two.
motion to accept step 1 for the gravestone repairs at Thompson Hill Cemetery for $10,000 under the historic.
And allowing them to move forward with step 2.
Okay, and allowing them to move forward with step 2.
Okay, we have a motion
I'll second.
and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Review and approve meeting minutes from September 19th, 2024. Sue, thank you for doing these. You did it off of a recording on your phone.
Yeah, that was fun.
And
Can I just ask a question? I saw the one on the dwellings, the step 1 application for the dwellings. Do we not review that tonight or?
so, because I didn't get them in order to get them all into the packet, I sent them off to the coalition. We'll put them on our next
Okay.
meeting. So all of those will, and then the one from the parks.
Soccer,
will-
yeah.
Will go.
Okay.
Did this one go to coalition?
No,
All right, because
No.
we've already done one
Right.
similar,
Right.
okay?
yeah. So I figured that one didn't need it.
Okay, so we're basically waiting for recommendations
Right, yeah,
Okay.
whatever feedback they give us.
Sounds good.
and the printing.
And the what?
and the printing.
Oh, right, yes, I can get them all out. All right, so did anybody have any edits to the set of minutes?
No, it's kind of confusing, the whole discussion with, Todd. but-
I know, I mean,
Yeah, I was trying to read it,
but I did this verbatim.
Yeah,
Because
okay.
there was a lot
Right,
there.
because about money too,
Yeah, so
okay. I know.
I didn't miss much.
I think it was confusing, so.
It was.
So-
No, that's my point.
Yeah.
It all worked out, but sadly, Todd's leaving.
I know.
I know.
He's retiring, right? Is he
Yeah.
retiring?
No, I
Oh,
think
just
he's
leaving.
probably got too many, he does it for several towns. So I think he's just lightening his load. I don't think he's retiring, but I haven't spoken to, I read it in the paper.
All right, so if nobody has any edits, do we have a motion to approve?
So move.
All right, motion in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I wasn't here.
Yeah.
Wasn't her name.
Second, Robert.
Oh, you did, you
Liz
were
was
either,
right.
okay.
Okay. And we have number 4, old business. We have status updates on approved projects from project liaisons. Any?
Thompson Hill is done.
Perfect. We got the bill and actually, so
We have the
Nancy,
bill.
Yeah,
so
I
that.
need they come. Lori
that?
called me. They're really looking for their money.
Okay,
I think it was maybe, I don't know, was Joan on vacation?
She's
And so
in-
we didn't get it,
oh. Lovely.
but, I mean,
She's waiting,
looking-
well, she gave me this before she went away. And we
Okay.
haven't met since, so they have to
Okay.
understand that there is a
I know.
protocol for paying bills.
Well, I promised that I would get it and put it under Lori's door in the morning,
Okay.
all right?
Well,
So, but
you-
I need W-9. Do you have the do you have all the paperwork?
Yeah,
I
you
need a
have a copy of all
W-9 and the
papers.
bill.
You just have to have signatures. However that happens.
There's no W-9 attached.
We have the memorandum of understanding.
What's that?
The
Oh, yeah, the
memorandum of
memorandum, yeah.
understanding.
But that was signed already.
That is signed, so,
Yeah,
but
right,
we don't
but
have
we don't
any
need
other
that. I
paper.
need the bill, a W-9, and I sign it.
This
And I
is the
put
bill.
the number of the account that it comes out
You
of.
have a copy of the bill.
I have a
gave
copy
it-
of the bill, but there's no W-9.
There's no what?
W-9.
Oh.
It's you need a
It's
form
like
that
an
goes to the
IRS
town so they can pay out. They can't pay out. But Lori said that, Joan knew that. You sure she didn't give you that attached to the paperwork?
No, this 3 pages is just what I have.
I'll call the company and have them fax one to Lori so that she can put on next week's warrant, so that it can go right out. I mean, it just seems like a long time in between for them to get their money, so we'll just get it as soon as we can. I'll just call about the W-9. I'm sure they want to get their money. I'm sure they'll send it right in.
Okay.
Right.
So that might be something we need to make sure is someplace in something in directions, that people need to be
Yeah.
sure that there's a W-9 on
Well,
file.
regular companies usually know last time around.
Yeah.
Does it, I don't have it in front of me, but typically when we have the form in our, plan, and it's the request for money, does it say in there? I don't recall. if it
No,
says
I
in
don't
there.
think
I don't
it
think
does.
it does.
That's actually billing from the company to the town.
Yeah, it has to be that type of thing, not a land purchase or anything.
The company's right on there, right?
Right, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
I'll
there's an
email.
Call them and get the
so-
W-9,
Yeah.
they can fax it right over,
Yeah,
or
he'll
email
send
it,
it, yeah.
either one, right?
Okay, so you'll follow up on that, Nancy?
I will.
I'm
sure
they have it already. It's on the first page. Please forward your payment to.
Yeah, there's a phone number right there.
It's also on the last page, on page 3, with a telephone number and an email.
And,
But, I do have to say that this, like, is the scope of work. It doesn't look like an actual bill to me.
Well, we also have on the first page, amount due for services is
Sure, Nancy, when you call them. just
Yeah,
like-
I'll take care of it.
They may not.
But
have
as long as we vote
a
to pay it,
letterhead
that's
or
all I need.
something.
Right.
Okay. I make a motion, we pay this bill.
I second it.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye. Okay, done.
Okay. Any other updates? I know the townhouse doors were put in.
Yeah, I haven't spoken with Joan
Okay.
yet.
And.
And I was just talking to you, and I
Yep.
guess it's getting underway, but slowly. I didn't talk to Melissa myself.
Yeah,
But I think she's gonna call me when they take a step, right?
yeah. Now that the height of the, summer and all the programs and stuff are coming to an end, they all have time to meet and do their thing.
Can't believe how late they go. They're doing fall
They do.
ball in Middleborough. It's freezing.
Well, soccer is still going. Yeah, it's cold.
All right, is that it for status updates? Our next meeting date is November 21st, 2024. That was a typo. 2024, not 2014.
Oh.
6:30 at the police station. And if nobody has any other business,
I have a question.
yes.
On the step ones, last year when we went over the step ones, we did that whole intricate checklist.
Right, I will print those for the.
Are we gonna do that, or did we decide we only need to do that on step two? No, we're gonna do
I
that
was gonna print them, so
for step one,
Yeah,
okay.
just
So
to keep it with
so
them.
we'll have that for each one?
Yes.
Okay,
yep,
okay.
yes. We will, yep, so the next meeting will be a longer one than this.
Yeah,
So, different subject, I have a question.
Yes,
I'm wondering if you can send to Nancy and I the Excel sheet, so we can work on it, updating that Excel sheet,
oh,
the budget Excel sheet,
Sure,
yeah.
yeah, and I meant to put in those, cause like I put it in as like the actual what had been voted as opposed to the deviation from the specified buckets, if you know what it. I wanted to see if there should have been any monies left in those buckets, if it had come out instead of from the main pot. And so I had to go back and I have to move them into the buckets that were.
Yeah, I
that they
think it'll
came out
take
of.
time for us to figure out how to do it, but we should
Yeah.
stay on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah,
So we'll figure it out, we'll work together on it.
oh, good, perfect,
well, December will be our next quarterly
okay.
Okay.
budget, kind of a report,
So we'll put that on for
Okay.
December then.
Yep,
Okay. Sounds good. And actually, I want to get it over to
Without
Todd
Todd.
before he leaves though, too.
I don't know.
Like, I'll make the changes, I'll send it to him and
Okay.
then,
All right.
send it around and we can discuss it in December.
Yeah, because we would include this, $9,550.
Right,
payment
now
in it.
that,
Yeah,
yeah, it's
yeah,
coming,
our first payment.
right. All
Yeah,
right,
and it would be good to have before the new person comes on, so they know what we're looking for.
right. Yep, I wonder how that'll go.
Do we need a letter from the historical commission that we had no intention of acquiring any money for the
Probably wouldn't be a bad
roof?
idea.
Just to
I
close the
think
file?
we'll need something from them so that we can then send something to Todd. Maybe if we can do that, oh gosh, we'd have to do that at our next
The money that
meeting.
you didn't use from the
Because
roof?
remember, he said he just needs an email.
A contingency fund is what we
From
were
us.
gonna
They
use
would
it
approve
as.
$30,000 for our new member. We had approved $30,000 for the roof at the town hall, but their Mass Historic grant covered
Mhm.
most of it.
Yeah, and also
Town
there-
money too, right?
It was, the bid came in way under what we thought it was gonna be, and we have to pay out the town share first, and then they went into the money for Mass Historical, so there was money left over, so they didn't have to go into the contingency fund at all. We didn't find anything unusual, which was wonderful. And it's
So maybe just tying up
1856.
loose ends to write something that says.
Yeah.
So
not
there'll be a
using that
formal
there,
letter.
So it can go
So
back
yeah,
into
so if
the
we can
pot.
get that too before our November meeting, and that way we can vote and send a memo to Todd before he leaves. And maybe he can set that up so that we can get that money put back in.
Now, what about the doors? Cause didn't you mention
Yeah,
about the
so I
doors?
guess-
Some money was coming out of
That's,
what was left over in that grant to pay part of the
Well,
doors.
The Mass Historical said they weren't gonna take back the difference, that they would give it to Paul for continuing work on the doors that were being replaced too.
So yeah, I'll have to connect
That
with
was
him
very
and see
nice
if.
of
Right, so then we need to know what the difference is.
Right.
No, but I will find out.
Okay. So that means there'll be more money coming back.
Potentially,
Yeah.
or just not going out.
Right.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right. Anything else? If not, motion.
There
to-
may be an additional, because remember, we had to have push bars put on the doors because that wasn't figured in initially.
Yeah.
Because of the safety code, once you change something dramatically, like the type of door, it's the same door pretty much, except it's a newer door. But because we changed the door, you now had to update to the safety code, so the push bar would have been something he hadn't initially factored in.
Right, yeah, and he said he was gonna be able to cover it. He
Yeah.
wasn't looking for more money from CPA, but,
Because he was taking some money from the commission,
budget.
from this committee's money, and then he was adding money from his budget to make up the difference. But then they had to do some reframing, they found some problem with, some flooring that needed to be fixed, a small
I
part.
was wondering why they were covered for the week. Like,
Yeah.
I drove by it that weekend, I'm like, oh, what's going
Yeah, it
on?
looked funny.
Yeah,
And then they had to paint the inside too, so.
they look
Did a
nice.
great job.
Yeah, looks sturdy.
You can't, from your car, you can't tell. And even coming up to them, if you walk up to the door, you can't tell the difference.
Okay, motion to adjourn.
All right, we have a motion and
The second.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.